Every single night, millions of people lie in bed and cannot sleep. Not because of stress, not because of their phone, because their knees are burning. Their hips feel like broken glass is grinding inside them. Their fingers won't even close into a fist without shooting pain traveling straight up their arm. And the cruelest part? This happens at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., the exact moment your body is supposed to heal itself. You wake up more exhausted than when you went to sleep. And every morning you reach for that bottle of ibuprofen that your doctor told you 6 months ago to stop taking. That is where millions of people are right now. And that is exactly where the pharmaceutical industry wants you to stay. Here is what they do not want you to know. Sitting inside your kitchen, right now, is a liquid that costs less than $2. It has been used for thousands of years across ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, and traditional Chinese medicine. Modern science has now confirmed what those civilizations already knew. And when you take 3 minutes before bed to use it the right way, something remarkable starts to happen to the inflamed tissue around your joints. The swelling begins to pull back. The nerve pressure begins to release, and for the first time in months, possibly years, you sleep through the night without waking up in pain. What is this liquid? Why does it work? And why is a single pharmaceutical version of its active compound sold in specialty clinics for $400 a session, while the real thing sits in your pantry right now? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why you have been in pain this long, what is actually happening inside your joints while you sleep, and the precise 3-minute protocol that is quietly changing the lives of people who discovered it. Everything changes in the next few minutes. Let us start with what is actually happening inside your body at night, because most people have this completely wrong. They think joint pain gets worse at night because of the cold, or because they moved wrong during the day. That is not the full picture. Here is the real biology. During the day, when you're upright and moving, gravity and muscle activity help circulate fluid through your joints. Your lymphatic system is actively draining inflammatory waste products away from the tissue. Your cortisol levels, the body's natural anti-inflammatory hormone, are naturally higher during daylight hours. Your joints are uncomfortable, yes, but the system is partially managing it. Then you lie down. Cortisol drops. Lymphatic circulation slows dramatically because the muscular pumping action that drives it is gone. Inflammatory fluid that built up throughout the day now has nowhere to go. It pools, it presses against nerve endings. It swells the tissue around the bursa, the synovial membrane, the cartilage. Your body's natural nighttime repair process sends blood rushing to inflamed areas, which sounds helpful, but actually increases pressure in already swollen tissue. And by 2 a.m., that pressure has been building for 4 to 6 hours with no relief. That is the burning. Throbbing, impossible to ignore pain that wakes you up. That is not a mystery. That is a predictable biological event. And once you understand it, you can interrupt it. Now here is where the $2 kitchen liquid comes in, and I want you to pay close attention to this part. The liquid is apple cider vinegar, raw, unfiltered, with the mother. You can find it in any grocery store in the world for between $1.50 and $2.50 for a bottle that will last you weeks. And here is why it is relevant to everything I just described. Raw apple cider vinegar contains 3 compounds that directly interrupt the nighttime joint pain cycle. The first is acetic acid. When acetic acid enters the body, IT shifts blood pH very slightly toward alkaline. Why does this matter? Because inflammatory tissue is acidic. The enzymes that break down cartilage, called matrix metalloproteinases, are significantly more active in acidic environments. When you create even a slight alkaline shift in your systemic pH, you are essentially turning down the dial on the biological machinery that is destroying your joints from the inside. You are not curing the disease. You are removing the fuel that makes it worse every single night. The second compound is natural malic acid. Malic acid is one of the most underappreciated molecules in joint health science. It plays a direct role in mitochondrial function inside the cells of your connective tissue. When your joint cells are inflamed and under oxygen stress, their mitochondria begin producing excess lactic acid as a byproduct. That lactic acid accumulates in the tissue around your joints, and it is a direct cause of the deep, aching soreness that you feel not just at night, but also when you first stand up in the morning. Malic acid, taken orally, helps clear this lactic acid buildup. Multiple peer-reviewed studies on fibromyalgia and musculoskeletal pain have identified malic acid supplementation as producing measurable reductions in pain scores. The pharmaceutical industry charges significant money for malic acid supplements in specialty form. It is naturally present in raw apple cider vinegar. The third compound is the probiotic culture in the mother, the cloudy, strand-like substance at the bottom of an unfiltered bottle. This matters because researchers have now firmly established the gut inflammation connection. Your gut lining contains more immune cells than anywhere else in your grade activation. It begins producing inflammatory cytokines continuously around the clock. Those cytokines travel through your bloodstream and they amplify existing joint inflammatory state. And people who make this shift consistently report something surprising, that their joint pain does not just improve at night, it begins to feel different all day. Now, I want to tell you something about the pharmaceutical side of this equation that will make you sit up straight. The active mechanism, that the most expensive joint, delivery method, and the price point. Biologic injections that target cytokine pathways can cost $300 to $500 per treatment. They require a prescription, underlying molecular pathway. The reason they work is not a secret that belongs only to pharmaceutical scientists. It is basic immunology, and the same pathway can be influenced at a lower intensity, but a genuine one, by what you put in your body every single night before you sleep. Here is the exact protocol. This is the 3 minutes before bed that thousands of people are now quietly using, and before I tell you, approach. But the protocol itself is simple. 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Make sure it says "with the mother" on the label, because filtered versions, you add a 1/4 teaspoon of raw honey if you find the taste difficult. The honey itself contains trace anti-inflammatory compounds, and it improves palatability without negating the effect. You drink this slowly over about 3 minutes. You do not chase it with anything sugary, and you go to bed. The reason timing matters, specifically doing this before bed rather than in the morning, goes back to everything we discussed about the nighttime inflammation cycle. You are taking the compound exactly at the moment when cortisol is dropping and inflammatory fluid is beginning to pool. You are giving your body the tools to moderate that pooling before it builds into the 2 a.m. pain event. People who switch from morning to bedtime use consistently report faster and stronger results. This is not an opinion. It is basic pharmacokinetic timing. Shifting pH and the probiotic effect on your gut microbiome takes at least several days to show measurable changes. Between night 4 and night 7, the majority of people who have documented this protocol report a first shift. Either they wake up once instead of 3 times, or they wake up at the usual time, but the pain is noticeably duller. This is the part where I want to address the question you're already asking. If this works, why has no one told you? Your doctor, your pharmacist, your specialist. Why are they still writing prescriptions instead of telling you to spend $2 at the grocery store? The answer is not a conspiracy. It is simpler than that, and in some ways more frustrating. The medical system is built around interventions that can be patented, priced, prescribed, and tracked through clinical trial infrastructure. A $2 bottle of apple cider vinegar cannot be patented. There is no financial incentive for a pharmaceutical company to fund a large randomized controlled trial on it. Without that trial, it cannot be included in clinical guidelines. Without clinical guidelines, doctors do not recommend it. Without a recommendation, patients never hear about it. The knowledge exists. The mechanism is understood. The research in the peer-reviewed literature, when you read it, is genuinely compelling, but it will never appear in a television advertisement. It will never be on the whiteboard in your rheumatologist's office, because no one profits from you buying something at the grocery store. And that right there is the real story of this video. Not just the $2 liquid, but the fact that your pain, your sleepless nights, your dependence on anti-inflammatories that are damaging your gut lining and your kidney function with every dose, that entire cycle exists partly because the knowledge that could disrupt it has no financial champion. The people who have broken out of that cycle are not people with special access to expensive doctors. They are people who started asking different questions, people who looked at the biology directly instead of waiting to be told what to do, people who spent $2 at the grocery store and gave it 30 days. Here is what I want you to do right now. Before you close this video, before you scroll to the next thing, make one decision. Go to your grocery store today or tomorrow. Find the apple cider vinegar section. Look for the bottle that says raw, unfiltered, with the mother. Buy it. Tonight, before you sleep, mix 1 tablespoon into warm water and drink it. Slowly. Do that for 30 nights in a row. Not 20, not 25, 30. Give your body the full biological cycle it needs to respond. Keep a simple note on your phone, a 1 to 10 pain rating every morning when you wake up. You will have data, real data about your own body, not a study, not a clinical trial, your life. Because here's the truth that no one in a white coat is going to say to your face. You have been in pain longer than you needed to be. The solution was not always a new prescription. Sometimes the most powerful thing in your life is already in your kitchen. You just needed someone to tell you why it works. Now you know. Start tonight.